Closely is political and economic commentator Khaya Sithole. Good afternoon to you. So the AG reporting irregular and fruitless and wasteful expenditure ballooning by more than 70% 2016 through to 2017. Let's just reflect on that number of 70%. Why is it getting worse?
I think the reason it gets worse is that the fundamental issues that the AG identifies every single year quite simply do not get fixed. And the reality, of course, is that the reason people fail to comply with supply chain legislation is simply because they don't have the capacity to do so. So, of course, what we've seen is that this massive increase of 70%, it is a shock. We didn't expect it to go down. We expected it to either stabilize or go up. But 70% sort of shows you that the scale of the crisis is much bigger than what we've seen before.
Let's try and move the technical speak out of this if we can. When we talk about the municipalities themselves not having the capacity to improve, where at operational level is that capacity deficit?
I would say at operational level, the capacity deficit probably exists in the procurement officers or the financial officers, because the issue here is that when we talk about irregular expenditure, this was money that was supposed to be spent first and foremost, but the manner in which the money was spent is what is questionable. So, for example, if the law says that you must get 4 or 5 or 3 quotations and you fail to do that, then it means that perhaps we are missing out on an opportunity to get a lower price when you don't get the number of quotes that are required by legislation. So that's what makes it irregular. So the money was going to be spent, but the question is, if you had been able to obtain all the quotes that you should have got, perhaps the price could have been lower. So the issue here is why do municipalities not have enough people that are able to ensure that you can get the requisite number of quotations within the specified timeline and then proceed with this? And of course, remember, the tension here is that the longer the process takes, the more compromised service delivery tends to be. So if you have to wait a week or a month to get just the quotations, it means that whatever it is you're trying to procure for the benefit of the community is then delayed by the same time frames.
What happens if we don't fix it? I mean, what happens if this trend continues?
If this trend continues, it means that obviously the state will eventually be bankrupt, because what tends to happen here is that we are literally just paying a bit more than what we should be paying. So perhaps if we're able to cut out this, it will mean that we are paying much less to run the municipalities. And when it costs less to run the municipalities, it would mean that the service delivery itself would by definition improve. But when that doesn't happen, remember, there is this dual problem in that you've got the financial problem, but also the social problem, in that once you run out of money of running municipalities, then service delivery becoming compromised. That's where service delivery protests come in. So it has to be seen from the consequential impacts of us not fixing it is much greater than just the financial.
I'm trying to find a clever link between our two political stories today, and I think I've found it. One of the provinces that got a 0% audit for all its municipalities was, surprise, surprise, the Northwest province. What do you then make today of this rather long and elongated resignation or early retirement, as Supra Mahumapila puts it? Where does this leave the province now? And perhaps also reflect on it from how this might improve governance and service delivery.
Look, the real issue is that you've seen over the past couple of weeks the people in the Northwest themselves taking to the streets to say, look, things are just not working out. So, you know, when they then saying that things are not working out at service delivery level, and then you see that none of the municipalities are complying with the processes that are designed in order to fast track and facilitate service delivery, you can see the clear links between the two. But of course, the fact that none of the municipalities got a clean audit is an indictment on the political leadership of the Northwest. And of course, Supra was the head of the political leadership, because what the political leadership is supposed to do is supposed to sort of do an audit, ironically, of what is the skill set that we need in order to make our municipalities functional. And if that skill set doesn't exist, then you either escalate it to national government or you do something different. And then once you've sort of created that capacity within that particular government, within that particular municipal structure, then you're able to actually execute on your mandate. So of course, the reality now is that the Minister of Cocta, being Mr. Zweli Mkhize, will now have to step in and say, look, these things eventually fall under my portfolio. What is it that I need to do in order to sort of try and fix this crisis that has happened in the Northwest? So for now, the political angle of it has also been attended to. I still think that there's more to be done in order to fix the political machinations in there, in order to then say, once we've dealt with the political issues, what we then do at the operational level. So it'll take quite a long time, especially if all the municipalities are getting not getting clean audits. It will take a long time for that province to stabilize and for us to say, okay, now at least they're headed in the right direction. But of course, today was the first tentative step towards that.
Khaya Sithole, thank you very much.